Things are getting out of control in Otter Creek with no ordinances, nobody to actually enforce ordinances. People are doing whatever they want. What they used to do on my property, now they're doing on everybody's property.
Look at how tacky. Now they're dumping garbage on this property and inside the building.
Otter Creek is just the way Russ the Sus and Don the Con want it, filled with otter freaks, dumping trash everywhere, no code enforcement whatsoever, creating liability for all of the residents. Why? Why would anybody want things like this? Lower taxes? Trashing a town doesn't lower your taxes. The property value will always be its value, no matter if there's junk on it or no junk on it. And trust me, there's plenty of junk in Otter Creek. I got 6,000 emails that prove it. The corruption goes all the way back to Rosemary, Don the Con's wife. My 6,000 plus emails from Town Hall date all the way back to 2006, when Rosemary Severino, Don the Con's wife, Donald the Conald, and his corrupt wifey poo were scamming the residents of Otter Creek for years upon years, and it's still going on to this day. Look at here. We've got this from FEMA. Basically down here, good morning, Rosemary, October 10th, 2012, 8:32 a.m. Rosemary, I've been trying to contact you recently. You should have received comments from me on the ordinance passed on July 16th, 2012. Now let's pause right there. The ordinance was done illegally and wrong, which is basically all of what Otter Creek has done up to this point with the new administration, with Madam Mayor Belinda and others who have helped correct the issues. Just because they put something into an ordinance and said, this is our town law, doesn't make it legal. For example, I could sue the town of Otter Creek right now for their previous ordinance that Laura Mott actually put into play. It is illegal and it targets me. And if things don't go right, and if things don't go well, if things aren't unbiased, not targeting with Laura Mott on the city council, there will be another lawsuit. There won't just be one. There'll be many. There'll be multiples. And this is the government coming back to Otter Creek and saying, your ordinance is illegal. And so it goes on to say, I need to know, based on my comments, what your plan is. Will you revise prior to November 2nd? I'm trying to provide a status update to FEMA for each community receiving new maps in the state at this time. I appreciate it dearly if you take a moment and respond. Richard, CFM. Okay. And so Rosemary has no clue what Richard is talking about in the first place. As a matter of fact, I'm not even confident that Rosemary had a clue about anything except how to take from the residents of Otter Creek without them ever knowing, but now it's being exposed. Doing things of her own personal nature on town time with town resources is theft. 100% theft. So what does Rosemary do? Rosemary says, oh, hello, Richard. We did receive your comments. Thanks for your help. We'll have our first public hearing on October 22nd or October 29th. Our final public hearing will be November 19th. When revised ordinance is completed, I'll forward it to you for review prior to the public hearing. Now, what did Rosemary actually do with this? Well, she sent it to Brent. She sent it to Brent, the lawyer. Let me look through here. Here we go. Hello, Brent. Did you receive this previously? I was out of town last week, and I asked Clea. Now, Clea is Clea Martin. Clea Martin was the mayor at this point in time. If you recall, when Russ the Sus's daughter actually did her community talk with 3 minutes to the mayor and the council, talking about how Otter Creek is such a ghetto, it was Clea Martin who was the mayor then. It was at this time Russ the Sus was trying to dethrone Clea Martin, who went out and tried to get a petition to unincorporate the town because he was no longer in control. Understanding that Russ the Sus is the problem in Otter Creek. He wants garbage everywhere. Don the Con is the problem in Otter Creek. They want garbage everywhere. How about we actually just clean up what God called us to be stewards of? his land, his world, his Judge to Thomas's, his planet. Not Judge to Thomas's planet, God's planet. So she goes on to say here, the ordinance is going to have a hearing on this 22nd, 29th. Can you make the changes, please? There are 2 administrative amendments, da-da-da-da-da. When the changes are made, we have to email Richard for approval prior to the public hearing. Thanks so much. Okay, so it goes on. But basically, in a nutshell, it goes on to say we need to run the ad, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so this is the sarcasm or the inaptitude of Rosemary. I just saw it here a second ago. She said, okay, right here. Brent, the ad will be in the Levy County Journal this Thursday. Our second hearing will be on the 29th at a special meeting. This should make him, Richard of FEMA, happy. Who writes like that? Listen, you are in a public servant situation. When you accept a position to be in town council or to be the clerk, as Rosemary was, she exists for one thing, to serve the public. She can't do that with illegal ordinances, regardless if they claim ignorance, which there's no doubt. There's a tremendous amount of ignorance, whether it be Rosemary, whether it be Don the Con, whether it be Russ the Sus. Their ignorance runs deeper than Otter Creek runs. Otter Creek usually dries up, but as you can see, their ignorance never dries up, and that's not an excuse for illegal activity. That puts the entire town in liability. Anybody, literally anybody, can sue the town of Otter Creek, and Otter Creek don't have a paddle to get up the creek because the creek is dry. There's no money. There's no money, and they just increase and increase and increase legal liability. And then the aspect of, well, that should make FEMA happy. No, how about we actually do the right things for the residents? How about this line here says, well, this will protect the residents, because that's the person that needs to be in that situation. That's the person that needs to be in that seat. Not a person who's sarcastic, not a person who's demoralizing, not a person who says, well, this is Otter Creek, we can do it any way we want. And that's the reputation that Otter Creek has and continues to have. They're a mess, and they do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. And eventually, somebody's headed to jail. You might be shocked to find out that the town of Otter Creek has been sued before in the past. As a matter of fact, here it is right here. Chandler versus the town of Otter Creek, and Rosemary to Brent, the lawyer. Okay. Now, many viewers of the past, which there are always new viewers coming into YouTube. Therefore, every video is made as if nobody's ever seen it before, because there are those who have never seen or understand the information that's coming forward. But many viewers understand that I was in a lawsuit with the town of Otter Creek. So when they stole from me, when they charged me more than double for my 2-inch water line and my 2-inch meter that I paid for out of my pocket, and then they tried to steal from me, and then I called them out on it, and then they corrected it and charged me the exact same price that every other resident, that every other business, that every other church, post office, Herschel's Country Store pays for their water. I was the only one paying anything different. That's targeting, that's theft. So once I called them out on it, then they made it to where I paid the same as everything else. Then they put a ordinance in place illegally under Russ the Suss's pulling the strings of Laura Mott, who was acting mayor at that time, but doesn't have a clue what a mayor should do, doesn't understand what's legal and not legal, and doing what Russ the Sus told her to do. So is she a victim in this? Yeah, that word is thrown around so much. If she was the mayor, she should have figured out what was legal and what wasn't legal. So now she's put herself in legal liability, the town in legal liability. And then when I go in and ask for records, Mary never gives them to me. Then Attorney Worm says, hey, I'm now in charge of giving them to you. And he never gives me a thing, not a page of the public records. It's not until Madam Mayor Therese, it's not until Belinda is in the office that I actually get all of the records, including the 6,000 emails. Now, that cost me well over $5,000 in legal fees. Now, they had to give them because that's the law. But legal fees, they ended up paying off, which then I was going to give the legal fees back to the town of Otter Creek. But once Madam Mayor announced that she was stepping down and the instability of Russ the Sus trying to gain that position of mayor again, I pulled back and I went, I will not trust Russell with this money if I gift it back and I say this has to be designated for the people or this has to be designated for the park and the children, which there are only a couple. So to this point, I have not gifted that money back. That was my heart's intent, and it still is. And I'm not the only one that's had issues with them. So you've got Chandler right here, town of Otter Creek, and it goes down here. Hello, Rose. Lawsuit is dismissed. Have a great weekend. And Rose's response, yes, thanks. Who got Rosemary in the situation with a lawsuit? Only Rosemary did. It was Rosemary that got the town in legal liability with this lawsuit, not providing records request. How could she find them anyway? The place is literally a heap of a dump, which then was passed on to Mary Mathescary, and so are lawsuits. And so how in the world this town has even operated legally? No, operated illegally. It just took somebody with a camera. It took somebody with a cell phone to go, I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. This is not okay. And it's interesting that others who actually live there think it is okay. Oh yeah, this is all right. Oh yeah, let's go dump all our garbage at the old corner store. Let's put all of our garbage on Jeremy's property because Jeremy didn't grow up here. Jeremy bought that property, but I grew up here, and I know that property better than he knows that property. And since I grew up here, I have every right to be on that property. How disrespectful. And I want to say this in the most disrespectful way possible. They're jerks. They're freaks. They're fools. They're ignorant, and they deserve what they're getting and what's coming for them. Oh, Rosemary, sitting in the wrong seat, on the wrong bus, in the wrong town. Messaging Kathy. Kathy, when you have a few moments to spare, and if everybody's thinking, man, that print just got really big. Me and Christian just learned how to make it bigger. Look at this. I'll make it even bigger. We should have done that before, huh? All right. Kathy, when you have a few minutes to spare, can you tell me how to sign an email? The only way I can figure it out is to print, sign, scan, but I think I lead a sheltered life. Can you help me out before on computer issues? Maybe you can help me again. Rose, town clerk. Okay, so why is there a town clerk that doesn't even know how to sign an email? And I would also add, why does the town clerk have to sign an email? Can't you just type your name? I mean, here it is. Boom. Rosemary. So she wants to put a signature in there. And she goes on to say, I lead a sheltered life. Okay, this woman has lived all over Florida with a man who has literally called the police because his best friend, his good buddy, stole all of his devil's lettuce. I mean, just wrap your head around that. Don the Con calling the cops. Yes. Can you speak up? I'm a hero. Yeah. You speak up. Yes, please. Yes. My best buddy, he just stole all the grams of my devil's lettuce. You'll be right here? Okay. I'll wait for you on the front porch. An entire news article on Don the Con calling the cops on himself. Literally on himself. Trying to get his buddy in trouble for stealing all his devil's lettuce. And yet, he incriminates himself. Now, I don't call that sheltered. I call that downright stupid and dumb. And so, the aspect of them saying she lived a sheltered life, I don't think Otter Creek is sheltered. I think Otter Creek is anything but sheltered. I think Otter Creek is messed up. But all it takes to fix it is to acknowledge, number one, you have a problem. Okay, so she has a problem. She's acknowledging it. I don't know how to sign. I don't know how to do a signature. Number two, if you need help, ask for help. And she actually is reaching out to Kathy for help. That's a good deal. And number three, you learn and you change, okay? And the aspect of change is important. Change isn't, I'm going to learn how to do a signature, and then the next day, I'm no longer doing signatures. Yeah, you understand that. This is like somebody who says, I've apologized to you. Why do you keep bringing this up? I apologize to you. And yet they keep doing the same thing day after day after day after day that they are claiming they apologized for. An apology means I'm sorry and I will not do it again. It may even mean I'm sorry and I will try not to do it again. But when I do it again, or if I do it again, I will acknowledge and take responsibility for the things I've done wrong and correct it. An apology isn't just going, I'm sorry, can we move on? That's not an apology. That doesn't make a difference. That's ridiculousness if somebody thinks that's an apology, right? And I think we all understand that. An apology is acknowledging what happened, taking responsibility, putting in action steps so it never happens again. And that's how you don't live a sheltered life. You make things correct. And here, Rosemary is actually trying to make things correct. Maybe you can help me again. But I have to ask the question, why are the residents of Otter Creek paying Rosemary to try and figure out how to do a signature on her email instead of her actually taking care of the flood ordinance, making sure it's legal, making sure it's right, and making FEMA happy? Kathy worked for the Levy County Journal, and she actually responded. She said, hey, Rose, I'm not sure on this one. I would think you'd have to go somewhere and save the signature, then copy and paste it where you want it. But I know there are security sign devices or programs to make sure no one can use your signature. I have the other computer gurus in the other office looking also. I probably will not be able to get back to you till Thursday, as we can try putting the paper together right now until whenever tonight, 9, 10, 11, midnight, 1. Kathy's starting to sound like Craig DeThomas's. You want to come back at midnight? We'll come back at midnight. All right, we got midnight right there. I will find out, though. So Kathy did try and help. And here's interesting. Look at here. We haven't peeked here yet. But right underneath Kathy's response is the lawsuit. Okay. So it says Rosemary and from Chris Stainfield, Joel Edward Chandler. So this is Chandler versus Town of Otter Creek. And hello, Rose. Attached, find the general release for the above reference. Chris for the firm. And so Rose says thanks. So it has to do with the lawsuit. Do we see anything else in here? The lawsuit. Ad for clerk. Oh, but this is going to get interesting. I'm looking for anything else with the lawsuit. Which, by the way, even though I'm not the first to sue the town of Otter Creek, I'm sure I won't be the last. As a matter of fact, there's a resident in Otter Creek right now being so hostile with Otter Creek. Believe it or not, they just got trespassed. They can no longer go to the town of Otter Creek, the hall. They can drive in the town to the property. They can't go in town hall. They're that big of an issue, that big of a problem. And I'm talking big. This is funny. This is somebody actually emailing Rosemary, and the disclaimer at the bottom. Please note, Florida has a very broad public records law. Your email communications may therefore be subject to public disclosure. Please consider the environment before printing this email. Okay, this is what we really... Your emails are subject to public disclosure. Every email, everything Rosemary did on that town hall computer with that town hall email, number one, incriminates her, and number two is public information. And so we can keep going through all of this stuff, which, by the way, it's funny because what's really this is talking about is this is a federal agency emailing her about the exceedance of maximum contaminant level has been received. And Rose is actually acknowledging, going, yeah, our water is horrible. Maximum level of contaminants in the water. It's just mind-blowing. The water is horrible. The employee is horrible. How does anything get better in a place like this? Well, let's look, because it looks right here. Looks like here they were putting in an ad for a clerk. Please run the attached ad twice this week and also send proof of publication as usual. Okay, so that was for Kathy at the Levy County Journal, which is now the Chiefland Citizen, I believe. And we cannot open these attachments. I wish we could, but currently the way that we are doing it, if we click save attachments, then it wants to go to the PC, the local disk, And I don't want to do any of that. And we wouldn't be able to actually find the attachments. That's why we've been asking for somebody with actual help. Let's see if we can actually find what it is. Run the ad classified section. Okay. That would be great. I thought the deadline was Monday at noon. Sorry for the hassle, Rosemary. Let's see what Kathy says. The deadline for classifieds is Friday at noon. Final page, I'll ask her. Okay, so yet again, Rosemary can't meet deadlines. We already know that. They were penalized, monetarily penalized for not meeting deadlines. Money was taken away from Otter Creek for not meeting deadlines. Can't even get the classified for the clerk in on time. Let's see, there's another one here. I'll probably be leaving the first of the year. My husband wants to travel a little while we're still able to. He's got cancer, radiation. Oh, that's sad. Sorry to hear that, Kathy. I've not read the ad before. I was just taken back for a moment. I'll be sorry to see you. Oh my goodness! Oh, praise Jesus! Rosemary is leaving. Oh man, I feel bad for Kathy's husband. Mate, we gotta dig into this a little bit more here, Christian. Okay, let's go all the way to the bottom. All right. Kathy, please run the ad in the classified section. This is for ad for clerk, October 29th, 2012, which we know she was still in there afterwards. She said, I'll see if we can get this in. The deadline is for Friday. She's not sent me the final page. I'll ask her to hold up for this one. Editor, Kathy. And then she says, that'll be great. I thought the deadline was Monday at noon. So sorry for the hassle. Yeah, another Rosemary Foupart. Can't even figure out deadlines. I got it to her. Are you leaving? I had not read the ad before. I was just taken back for a moment. I'll be sorry to see you leave. And then Rosemary says, Kathy, I'll probably be leaving after the first of the year. My husband wants to travel a little. We are still able. He has, oh my goodness. Hold a second. That's not Kathy's husband. That's Don the Con. I hold a second. I got a double take. Kathy, I will probably be leaving at the first of the year. My husband wants to travel a little while we are still able to. He has prostate cancer. He's getting radiation at the present time. Rosemary. Oh, man. Now, I know what everybody's thinking. Jeremy, you've been so hard on Don the Con. And now all of a sudden you're finding out that he had prostate cancer. Okay. Regardless, what he has done and what Rosemary has done is not acceptable by any stretch of the imagination. Do I feel bad because Mary Mathescary had a stroke? Absolutely. I don't want a stroke on anybody. Do I feel bad that Don the Con had prostate cancer? Well, we're on the other side of it almost 12 years later, and obviously there's some healing. He's still with us. And he's great comic relief in the town hall meetings as well. But do you remember the disclaimer? Remember the disclaimer about the bad water? Anything you put in an email, it's public information. And now it's public. Don the Con had prostate cancer and radiation treatments. Now, some of you are thinking, this explains everything with Don the Con. It very well might, although I'm pretty sure he was like that before the treatments, and he's still like that after the treatments. Rosemary's still trying to figure out how to do signatures. As a matter of fact, she's asking the town lawyer. Now, as she asked the town lawyer, I believe this is a complete and total lack of stewardship with funds. You don't ask a town lawyer how to do a signature on an email. You get on Google and you figure it out. And so she's spending the town money asking him, hello, Brent. I just spoke with Joe Miniter this morning. Looks like the Bronson water agreement may not happen. He's developing a plan B. On another note, can you tell me how to sign your emails to me? Do you print, sign, scan, then send? If you have another way to do it, I would love to know. Have a good day, Rosemary. Now, let's pause right there, okay? This is, number one, a total misuse of funds, asking the lawyer this instead of just learning it as a clerk. Number two, we just learned that Rosemary is stepping down because of Don the Con's issues with his prostate. Now, number three, we have this whole issue of water, which is still an underwriting issue to this very day. So 1998, same road, runs right on the side on the edge of Otter Creek. On the other side, on the west, now the east side of 19, they got good fresh water. On the west side, where Otter Creek is, closer to the Gulf, we've got junk water. And to this very day, we're still trying to get good water. As a matter of fact, there are millions of dollars in grants right now talking about hooking up to Bronson's water. Just a couple of days ago, they had all kinds of massive issues with their water, even in Bronson. They have nice, clean water, but it was coming out gray. There were people all over Facebook complaining about it. They have issues even there. But the grant would put a pipeline from Bronson, and it would put a pipe all the way over here to Cedar Key, which Otter Creek's smack dab in the middle. Now, Otter Creek's incorporated, and you're going, well, if they're incorporated, they're going to get fresh water, right? Well, Elsie's right over here. Rosewood's right over here. They're not incorporated. They're going to get fresh water, too. It doesn't matter if you're incorporated or unincorporated. People need clean water. So even all the way back in 2012, they're trying to get water from Bronson. Remember, Russ the Sus destroyed the whole opportunity to get clean water from Chiefland, which is actually north of Otter Creek. So to this day, in 2024, and this was back on November 1st, 2012, okay? And the ad for clerk was October 29th. So we're at November 1st, 2012. They're still trying to get water from Bronson. 12 years later, he's developing a plan B. We ain't talking about this pill that ladies take. This is to get fresh water in Otter Creek that we still do not have to this day. I would never drink the water. As a matter of fact, unfortunately, the water does get in my mouth. And frankly, I think what's happened is tremendous decay to my mouth because of it. If you recall, last year I had, I think it was 13 cavities filled. Now I have to get a root canal up here over a tooth that already has a crown because that water can seep in because you never have a complete and total seal. Now, could it be all the candy that the fans send? There's a possibility of that. But I was eating that much candy before Otter Creek. But once I got to Otter Creek, now I got major issues inside my mouth. And so do a lot of the other residents. Remember how Mary Mathescary used to have these flirtatious emails back and forth with Attorney Worm? Attorney Worm would come in on a scooter, and Mary would give him the gossip of the day, all while he was billing the town for that. Tens of thousands of dollars for inappropriate conversations that should have never happened between a clerk and a lawyer. And the town should have never been billed for it. Well, why would Mary think that's okay? Well, I think I might have the answer. Look at here. Brent, this is the town attorney, on November 1st again. We went to the festival in McIntosh on Saturday. It was huge. It was a great festival. The old homes there are delightful. Anyways, just thought I would mention it. Rose. Who sends an email to the attorney just mentioning stuff? So I'm sure most people understand. Anybody with common sense understands. Anytime you send a text, anytime you have a phone call, anytime you have an email, the attorney is going to bill you for that conversation. Now, regardless if it took 30 seconds for him to actually read that, he will charge at a minimum 1/4 of an hour. So let's say he charges $400 an hour, okay? He just charged the town $100 for Rosemary to send an email saying, I just thought I would mention it. Not okay. But you're thinking, listen, come on, Jeremy, this is Otter Creek, it's Levy County, there are no $400 an hour lawyers. Okay, let's say he gave the town a discount. He's $200 an hour. There are $200 an hour lawyers in the area. So now he charged the town, how much money? $50 for Rosemary to send an email saying that it was huge. The old houses are just delightful. If it's that great, move there. Don't charge the residents. Don't create more expenses for the residents, which some of the greatest taxpayers, or the highest amount taxpayers, are me. I wasn't there at that time. I know you're thinking you weren't there in 12, Jeremy. No, I wasn't. But if this were to still be going on today, and it was, with Mary in the office, with Attorney Worm, my taxes that I pay are paying these conversations, which yet again, I can't stress this enough, proves the town does not need to be incorporated. As Matter of fact, it needs to be unincorporated. The town will always be a town, regardless of whether it's incorporated or unincorporated. What makes the town is the people. The name stays the same. The people are there. Do they need new people? Absolutely. There needs to be an influx of good people. But you can't have an influx of good people if the bad people are holding on to all the land and they won't sell. You get that too, right? Or the other thing that could happen is the bad people, they can stop selling rugs. They can stop dealing rugs. We don't need any more rugs. I mean, it's a place of sand. It's Florida. It's all sand. But we don't need rugs to catch all that sand. If Don the Con going through radiation treatments wasn't shocking enough, I just saw something from the past. It's now going to the future. Look at this. Rosemary said, "Hello, George. Are you not freaked out?" I'm freaked out. I am freaked out. She wrote it in the past, knowing that George would be reading it in the future. This is insane. This is insane. Rosemary somehow knew that we were going to be coming to Otter Creek, and she even wrote an email. And she says, "How are you? How about the new puppy?" How did Rosemary know about the new puppy? Christian, you know about the puppy. We were just at the village. We just saw the puppy. We just helped our local village here secure a new puppy, which is part of the Canine Rug Task Force. And so we were able to help them financially with the puppy, with all of the training, retrofit the car, and with a price tag of, do you remember, Christian?
Mm-hmm.
How much?
$15,000.
$15,000. And somehow Rosemary knew all about it. Look at, how about the new puppy? George Puppy. This is crazy. I have questions about minimum lot coverage in Otter Creek. I was hoping you could help me out, Rose. Now, I'm not sure whether George knows about minimal lot coverage in Otter Creek. What I do know is George knows about security in Otter Creek, because Lord knows we got to have it. With no election this year in Otter Creek, I'm often taken back wondering what elections used to be like in Otter Creek. And thankfully, we have all the public information here. So this is from Tammy Jones, and she's in charge of all elections. It says, "To all city clerks, I hope this email finds you well, full of delicious Thanksgiving food." Oh man, Christian, what's your favorite thing Thanksgiving? Turkey?
I don't know.
Turkey for me.
I like greens.
And turkey for you. You like greens?
I do.
Collard greens?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that about you. Okay. All right. Delicious Thanksgiving food. Are you thinking about Thanksgiving right now like I am?
I wasn't.
I am now. Now I'm thinking about turkey. I've attached a questionnaire that I need all city clerks to fill out concerning your elected officials in next year's elections. This form is vital in yours and our preparation for next year. It'll be a busy time in our office, and the more informed we are about your election dates, the better we can prepare. Also, the vendor we use to print the ballots is in need of this information. Let's scroll down a little bit. Even if we do not print ballots or provide equipment for your election, the information on the questionnaire is still needed. Below is the total voters for each city, so you can answer one of the questions about the ballots needed. Now, look at this. Bronson, 665 voters. Chiefland, 1,234 voters. Cedar Key, 591 voters. Fanning Springs, 311. Inglis, wow, Inglis has more than Cedar Key, 934. Otter Creek, 96. Williston, 1,558. Yankeetown, holy cow, Yankeetown's blowing Otter Creek out of the water. That's in 2012. 2012, there were 96 registered voters. The last election, there were 71 registered voters. What does that tell you about the health of a town of Otter Creek? What does that tell you about the people who foundationally do not want new people coming into Otter Creek? You know, the health of a town, you can see it based on families. How many young children are in the area? And the aspect of truth right now, I can think of two. And one of them is unfortunately in a neglectful situation with habitual pathological liar and stalkers. And that's horrific. That is not the type of people you want coming into your town. The health of the town is going to be based off of business and families, both of which are almost non-existent. Business, you've got the Christian church and the school. And frankly, I am amazed that parents outside of Otter Creek actually send kids to Otter Creek for school. You've got the RV park. You've got another RV park coming in. And frankly, I may turn my 70 acres into a luxury RV park. I may do a lot of things with my 70 acres. It's my property. I'll do whatever I want within the constraints of the law. You also have Herschel's, which is just a little corner market. If you want to pay 5 times the price of a normal thing from Walmart, you can go to Herschel's. You've got the post office. And other than that, business. Oh, wait. There's that turd purgatory. Yeah, that ain't business. That's a scam and a con. We also have Tubetown. That's a town in a town. That's pretty awesome. Other than that, there's really no business. Now, I can think of one child that I already referred to. Another child that I can think of is the Hudson sisters. Darlene Hudson's grandson lives next to Town Hall. I can think of 2 children that I would consider toddler or a little older than toddler. Other than that, there's a teenager or 2. Talk about the lack of health in a town. The only thing that is going to build this place back up, number one, and again, it's my opinion, and it's all it is. It's a bias, it's an opinion, it's mine. Number one, town needs to unincorporate. Unincorporating will stop all the fighting. Unincorporating will stop this struggle for perceived power. It'll stop Russ the Sus from damaging other residents' property and the growth of the town. And it'll stop Don the Con and Rosemary and Mary and other individuals. And it will bring in code enforcement so that people just don't throw junk all over a piece of property like they did mine and like they're doing to so many others right now, since they know I have cameras all over mine. And then you need business. Now, you're not going to get a Walmart in Otter Creek, nor does Otter Creek need a Walmart. Now, some in Otter Creek may be like, hey, that'd be great if we did have a Walmart. It's not an area that is going to be conducive to a Walmart. But a little restaurant, that'd be great. A pizza joint, oh my goodness. A pizza place, that would be incredible. People would buy pizza on the way to Cedar Key. Oh, a place to get fish and tackle, ice, that would be good. A little dollar store, that would be great. These little amenities will help a town grow, become a draw for families. And that's your third part of the puzzle. You have to get families, like Christian and Patience and Pepper. But Christian, would you ever move to Otter Creek?
No.
And you just proved my point.